Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new session. And this is with reference to your post MBA goal. One of the most celebrated post MBA goals, I would say, which is to get into consulting, strategy consulting, technology consulting. But before starting, I would just introduce myself quickly. I've taken a few sessions before for LeapQuest, but yes, this is something new which I'm doing. Something a little different with respect to the application journey, which we have spoken about before. So I'm Ankit. I'm currently working as a senior manager with Ernst& Young India, EY India, in the technology consulting division. I have close to 11.5 years of experience, and predominantly I was working in the consulting sector, specifically in tech and risk consulting, and I did my MBA from National University of Singapore, NUS Business School, and did a few internships in PwC Singapore and also Singapore Exchange. And I have been associated with LeapQuest since 5 to 6 years now, and started as a candidate where I got admits from schools like NUS, where I did my MBA from, IIM Ahmedabad, BGPX, ISB, NTU, Hong Kong University of Science and Tech, and IMD Switzerland. So coming to the topic of the presentation now, why consulting after an MBA? And basis my interaction with a lot of candidates and in my B school as well, a lot of people had this view with respect to joining consulting after the MBA, and they were coming from they were coming from different sectors. Some of them were entrepreneurs, some of them were coming from specific market sectors, some of them were coming from industry setups, manufacturing companies, and all. But consulting is one of the domains where they wanted to get into. Why is it so? Because I personally feel that consulting continues to be one of the most popular post MBA career paths. I think whether it's the MBB firms such as McKinsey, BCG, Bain, or firms like Deloitte, EY, PwC, Accenture, consulting, in my opinion, offers a unique blend of problem solving, leadership exposure, and rapid growth. But it's also one of the most misunderstood careers in my opinion. In this video, let's break down what consulting really is and how MBA graduates fit in, and what you should know before aiming for it. Some of the major rationales on why consulting after the MBA. Obviously, it's unmatched compensation and benefits. Well, right now, the market, the geoeconomic conditions and situation is not that great. But I personally feel that if you have that specific skill, if you have that problem solving skill, if you can incorporate that as part of your case competitions, or even your uh, even during your academic curriculum, or during your MBA, or your masters, I feel that you do have a space. You do have some kind of an avenue as part of your consulting domain, and definitely, I'm sure that as part of your GMAT and GRE prep or the EA prep, there's a certain acumen which you're developing as part of problem solving. Consulting amplifies that further. So definitely one of the major reasons is diverse, complex problem solving, global exposure, and fast-paced growth. Considering that you are actually working with a plethora of clients, so your clientele defines you. End of the day, whether you're working with international clients or domestic clients, and obviously you're working with clients spread across different market sectors. So it's very important to basically make a niche in one of the sectors, and that's how you recognize after say 5 to 10 years that yes, this guy is a healthcare strategy consultant, or this guy is a FMCG or BFSI technology consultant. So this is how you're basically branded in the market. So it's very important to pick up a specific market sector, understand what are the problem statements which are going on in that sector, and then start building on that. And obviously, yes, abundant exit opportunities. One fun fact which I wanted to share, which normally people don't know, and uh, as I was just saying, that most of the candidates have this particular ambition or endeavor to get into consulting, but it's very important to understand consulting market size and what are the respective divisions or what are the respective segments which come under consulting. So as per the compounded annual growth rate percentage, the number one consulting domain, as per the MBPs and the Big Fours and even the boutique consulting firms, is operations consulting. So about 23%. 23%, this specific consulting segment basically grew in 23-24, followed by strategy consulting, which grew by 9%. Transactions and corporate finance, this is also part of strategy and execution, I would say that. And then you have specific capabilities within risk consulting, cybersecurity consulting, technology consulting, where you're actually implementing ERPs, for example, or you are migrating your legacy applications into cloud. Cloud assurance forms a very, very important part of it. And obviously, the newly introduced consulting domain, which is into climate and ESG consulting, sustainability consulting. So this is also one of the practices which is picking up very, very rapidly, according to me. Some of the pointers which I feel, which I feel students should actually research on, or candidates should actually research on when they are drafting their essays, or they should start developing that specific acumen. I think consulting, according to me, helps organizations in determining how to play in the market and how to win. How should an organization basically compete in the markets, and how should they basically build their in-house capabilities with respect to a specific problem statement? What assets and capabilities are required in order to actually win in potential markets? What are the respective tools and strategies they're actually taking with respect to market entry and market expansion? And how can we actually make our day-to-day processes more efficient? Again, this is as per the consulting segments which I told you. End of the day, we are trying to solve the respective client problem. So the attitude with respect to client centricity has to be very, very high. And your client, the client is everything over here. We need to basically understand what is the problem which the client is currently going on. And I've seen this as part of my career that that if you're doing pretty well in a specific engagement in a specific project, and the client is pretty happy with you, you definitely have a further chance to penetrate into further solutions. The client will definitely consider you for further problem areas which the organization is particularly facing or want to basically expand into. So that's how you build your accounts also in consulting. Last and not the least, I think when it comes to strategy consulting, M&A and deal advisory is also very, very important, and this basically forms a part of your strategy and transactions. So the main two questions which come in over here is that how do we buy and integrate an external organization, and how do we sell and separate a business unit? So you need to basically understand the respective terms, procedures, processes, the respective operating models around it, and that's how you're gonna consult your client. What are the consulting salaries? So definitely, I think the meat is taken by the MBBs, and I think recently there was a survey basically released by Gartner and one more rating agency or one more popular journal. I think EY Parthenon has basically crossed, or EY Parthenon is basically now the third best or the fourth best consulting arm, I would say that. So I think it's rapidly growing, and the penetration which this particular firm is doing, specifically in the APAC and the Europe markets, is amazing. So MBBs I think they form the meat of it, but yes, EY Parthenon, Deloitte Monitor, Accenture Strategy and I guess a few boutique consulting firms also, such as Grant Thornton, Productivity, Baker Tilly, GEP. So I think these are specialized consulting firms. Say, for example, GEP is known for providing consulting services and procurement and supply chain. So they are the leaders there. And if, for example, someone wants to optimize their procurement and supply chain processes, definitely they will approach GEP there. Uh, EY Parthenon and McKinsey, the MBBs and all, they I believe have a plethora of solution offerings specifically into these three parts. Number one, defining the strategy roadmap of a company, and once a strategy roadmap of a company is defined, the implementation angle basically comes in as part of operations consulting, and then you have the strategy and transactions consulting, where obviously you have the M&A part and the deal advisory part. So your technology consulting, your risk consulting also revolves around the same life cycle. Obviously, the terms change, the enterprise landscape changes a bit, but the overall engagement life cycle of a consulting engagement remains the same. These are some of the top schools in US which are focused, I think, which have a forte in consulting, according to the recent survey results which have come in as part of Financial Times, Bloomberg, and Economist. So HBS tops the list along with Wharton, Booth, Kellogg. MIT Sloan is also picking up really well, and I think the level of solutions they're actually offering with respect to AI transformation consulting is amazing. So a lot of students are getting internships in AI transformation and AI strategy consulting as well. Some of the other USB schools which have a proven track record with respect to placing students in consulting, whether it's internships or their PPOs. I think Columbia is another amazing school. Duke, Fuqua, Michigan Ross, Berkeley has, and Dartmouth Tuck. Um, I would say that majority of schools, when I compare the USB schools, I believe the East Coast schools, they are majorly into they're majorly into strategy consulting, but yes, I think most of the students get into corporate finance and I think strategy and execution consulting engagements. But I think on the west side also, I think it's the same thing, but I think the tech focus is higher there, and the operation logistics part also. Say, for example, someone who is graduating from Michigan Ross, he or she may actually get an opportunity to actually work in a supply chain consulting firm, a supply chain consulting internship, for example, which may say turn into a business transformation or digital transformation consulting engagements or practice. So the forte differs, I would say, with respect to what exactly is the demand in that specific geography. So you need to basically choose your schools that ways. So if, for example, you want to go for SNE, corporate finance, you want to go for deal advisory, M&A, restructuring, I would say that your first preference should be your East Coast schools. If you want to go for operations, logistics management, supply chain, I think schools in the Midwest would actually draw a lot of weight. Then tech consulting, AI strategy, cybersecurity consulting, enterprise resilience consulting. I think the West Coast is great for this. So I'm not saying that strategy consulting is not there on the West Coast, but I would say the solution offerings or the problem statements the clients are currently facing with, that's I believe proportionately divided, I would say, geography wise. So basis that, I think we can choose a specific school. That's the only intent. um I think these are the top schools in Europe. INSEAD, LBS, HEC Paris, ESA, and IE. A quick note, I think, with respect to uh, some of the consulting frames. So INSEAD, for example, because when I was in Singapore, INSEAD also has a campus in Singapore, and I did actually meet a couple of students who were actually doing their MBA from INSEAD, and I can just say that this particular school is a consulting school. So right from the academic curriculum to the case competitions, the students and the candidates are very well delved into preparing for, I would say, consulting interviews. And that's how the entire curriculum is basically designed, right from your MECE principles to profitability frameworks to market entry frameworks to growth strategy frameworks to M&A frameworks. I believe each of their case studies are also basically, I would say, tuned in, or I would say the frameworks are configured in such a way that you would be studying a specific case, but indirectly or directly would be applying that specific framework to come to a specific solution. So that is how it is, and this is a very good practice considering that they're actually ingraining this specific attribute in the students right from the starting of the curriculum. So if someone wants to actually get into consulting and someone who is, um, say, interested to work in the EU region or London or UK or Singapore, the APAC market specific, and also the Middle East. Right now, Middle East has become one of the major zones, I would say, for consulting. I think you should definitely consider schools like INSEAD, HEC Paris, and ESA. So I think these are some of the major incubation centers for people who want to basically break into consulting after the MBA. Asia's launchpads in INSEAD, as I just mentioned, anyway, Singapore also has a great concentration of candidates who want to get into consulting. And we, as part of my cohort, also a lot of people came in from firms such as PW. There were a lot of people from EY, for example, as part of investment banking division and restructuring and M&A division. And now some of them have actually pivoted into startups and they're working for PEVC firms. But these schools are pretty selective, I would say, when it comes to selecting selecting people from consulting specifically. So, and I think one of the schools which is not there, I think ISB, no brainer here. ISB is one of the major consulting schools in the world. I think close to 45% of their placement is in consulting. And Accenture Strategy, I believe, is one of the major recruiters. I think last year this was a stat. And yeah, I think MBBs and the Big Fours also come in, but yeah, Accenture Strategy was one of the top recruiters. So again, just like INSEAD, they have a very rigorous, I would say, they have a very rigorous case. They really develop that casing acumen in the students, which I've seen. So when the recruitments basically start in ISB, people are apart from revising frameworks, understanding all the case books and all, they are very dedicated. They're rigorously studying specific cases on market entry, market expansion, profitability, then operational efficiency. These are some of the common some of the common cases which actually come in as part of your recruitment exercises also. So this is also very, very important. So I think ISB is also one of the major schools which are which I would say is one of the behemoths in consulting as part of the APAC region. Australia Melbourne Business School and AGSM, but yes, I feel that they are more driven towards general management. But yes, I think consulting also is one of the major. Consulting also forms one of the major segments when it comes to recruitments and internship opportunities. Consulting firms beyond MBB, I believe this I covered as part of the initial slide. But yes, strategy in hand is a corporate strategy wing or the consulting wing of PwC. Parthenon is for EY. But yes, EY, because I'm working there, the EY India has a separate consulting practice also, where they are focusing on technology consulting, risk consulting, people consulting, and I think I'm forgetting one specific practice here. Risk consulting is there, tech consulting, people consulting, and business consulting. Yes. So business consulting, you are covering majorly business transformation and performance improvement engagements here, and specifically into supply chain transformation, AI transformation, then business process reengineering. So these are some of the engagements which come in as part of EY consulting, and EY Parthenon is a strategy wing of EY, where you have a corporate strategy, SNE, strategy and execution, SAT, restructuring, M&A. So I'm just repeating what I just said, and the structure is pretty similar when it comes to PwC, Accenture Strat, Oliver Wyman, and Kearney. These are some of the solution offerings which people will have to basically decide and then start their essays after that. Because this is what I personally feel. I think you need to be very specific with respect to the solution offering in which you want to get into. So just by writing strategy consulting or just by writing consulting will not actually help you in your essays or will help you in actually getting it admitted. So if more the specific you are, I think the level of research also matters a lot over here. And obviously tying back to the work ex which you've had as part of your pre-work ex, this is also very, very important. LeapQuest's four-stage strategy for MBB success, personalized school selection. As I just told you that every I mean whatever consulting school we just discussed, each of those schools have a forte with respect to that specific consulting solution offering. So the research needs to be there, and that's how your schools are selected. Um, Narrative building, essay crafting, that that is the brainstorming part which comes in as part of your essays. Mock interviews, case drills, I mean, some of the B schools, say NCR, ISB, some of the top B schools in the US, they do ask you a few case questions as well. They can ask you an abstract question. Say, for example, okay, so this company is not doing that well. It has these and these distribution channels. It has this much budget for as part of their marketing strategy. How can they improve their profit margins, or how can they actually improve their cost of goods sold? How can they decrease their cost of goods sold, for example, to increase the revenue part? So some of these you need to be familiar with all these terms if you're actually aiming for an MBA from a consulting school. These are some of the triumphs which have taken place in the past, and I mean these are just examples, but I personally know that a lot of people have actually got into consulting schools and are doing pretty well right now. They are working for MBB firms, Big Fours, boutique consulting firms, and are I think they leveraged the resources pretty well as part of their B school journey. They were part of a specific club ecosystem and ensured that they get into the right firm. The fitment was right. So yeah. With respect to the process, I think LeapQuest is providing end-to-end services, proven methods, proven frameworks, proven processes, unparalleled network with respect to not only confined to India, but it's a global network what we're talking about here. And yes, I think we can definitely help you with low test scores. We can actually assist you with respect to scholarships. I think this is some of the additions which we have done as part of our package. So even if you have a low test score, it's fine. I mean, something can be worked out, and we can actually ensure that you get into a consulting B school, because it's a necessary condition to actually have a score, but not a sufficient condition. This is what I tell each of my candidates, each of the candidates I'm working with or I'm interacting with, or this is what I understood as part of my journey as well, that it is just a part of the application. End of the day, a lot of things actually depend on how well you're communicating, how crisp are your basically answers, how how well are you substantiating your answers with certain examples. So all of this is very, very important according to me. I think these are the next steps. I think for this you can get in touch with the team. I think Darshan will be able to help you over here. Yes, I think that's it for today. This was just tip of the iceberg, but yeah, would love to speak, would love to talk about this, would love to talk about consulting. I would say, because it's a very, very diverse. It's a diverse field. It's a diverse domain, and every day. I mean, talking about myself, every day I'm learning something new in consulting, and considering I've been doing this from the last 10, 11 years, but every day I think there's a new problem. Every day you're learning a specific new framework, you're learning a new concept. So I think if you have that mental acumen, if you have that intriguing nature with respect to learning new things, I think consulting is the field for you. If you have the knack for solving problems, if you have the knack for understanding the client issues, if you have a knack for forming a customer journey map, I think consulting is the domain for you. Looking forward to speaking to you, to speaking to all of you, I think soon, and all the very best for round two applications. Thank you.